The Great League Remix is upon us, and the big story coming into it is the emergence of Carbink, the fairy-type Bastiodon. My name's Fish from Pallet Town PvP, and we are going to take a look at the basics of the Great League Remix meta in just 5 minutes, or as I like to refer to it, Fantastic Carbink and how to beat it. This is just your basic look at the meta. If you want a complete breakdown, we live stream a chat here on this YouTube channel every Tuesday night, 8 PM Eastern US time. You can check out the link to this week's complete breakdown in the description, or you can click here. In the meantime, let's take a look at the basics. And while Carbink is such an imposing force in the meta, it's actually a really diverse meta. I usually say that the line of these overall scores of the meta line, right? Anything above this is pretty meta, anything below that you're starting to struggle to make it work, is 82, right, for an overall score. Normally you get 20, 30 Pokemon in a reasonable meta that are above that line. In this cup, it's we're still going. 175 Pokemon are at or above that line. So there is a lot of different options. But you do have to worry about Carbink the most, because if you aren't prepared for it, it can run through a whole team. It's got Rock Throw, Rock Slide, and Moon Blast, but it also can know Tackle as its fast move, and we'll talk about the benefits of that in a minute. First up, let's look at your ground types. You've got Shadow Quagsire, which has been so buffed with the shadow damage, and also that Mud Bomb boost has done wonders for it. So it's your best ground type in the meta. Whiscash is next, and it's probably the only other Mud Boy that you'd look at. Like, you're not really looking at Marshtomp or Gastrodon or anything. Those two are your main ones. You've got Diggersby as well. Gliscor I don't think is... I think there's going to be too much to counter it, but Steelix I really like, and we'll get a bit more into that later. You've got your grass types, which of course can beat the Mud Boys and your Carbink. Not Abomasnow, unfortunately. The Rock Throws will be doing more damage to Abomasnow than what Abomasnow can do back with Energy Ball. So that's a loss to Carbink. But then you've got Lurantis, which with Leafage as your fast move will be able to beat the Carbink. You've got Chestnut does really well against it. Credilli does well. Meganium, Ferrothorn. With the Chestnut, you've obviously got to really worry about the Moonblast, but we'll get more into that later as well. And then, interestingly, you've got your fighters. Even though it is a fairy type, the fighting moves are doing neutral damage to the Carbink, and the Rock Throw / Rock Slide is resisted. So it's relying on Moonblast to be able to KO these fighters, which it can. The trouble is landing the move, right? So Carbink does very well in a late game situation with an energy lead. Like, no shields on the opponent's side and an energy lead, then it can get to that Moonblast to KO. But from a standing start, kind of 0-0 shield situation, Surfetch will be able to... Surfetch will be able to beat the Carbink. Chestnut will be able to beat Carbink, just because it doesn't get to the Moonblast in time. That changes with Tackle, which is why if I had a Carbink myself, I would probably run Tackle on it rather than Rock Slide, because Tackle is not resisted by the fighters or the ground types, and it's getting to that Moonblast just a little bit quicker, which can flip some of these scenarios. You can at least take a shield off of these Pokemon, right? Scrafty with shields up, so with 2 shields, Scrafty can counter and power up punch its way through a Carbink, and I believe Machamp can as well, and Lucario. So Lucario is double resisting those Rock Throws as well. So fighters actually really interesting. I really like Cresselia as we're going to a neutral option now. Cresselia down here is something that can resist the fighters, has the Moonblast, which it gets to a lot quicker than Carbink, and also has the Grass Knot for the Mud Boys. So I think that'll be a very important pick. Another reason that Cresselia will be good is because there's very few steel types around. The big 3 have been banned in Galarian, Stunfisk, Registeel, and Bastiodon, which leaves not much left over. The big ones are Alolan Sandslash, which will be very good. Alolan Sandslash will allow you to beat what I imagine will be a fair amount of Carbink double grass lines. And also Steelix, like I said, the Steelix will actually beat Carbink, because even though the Dragon Tails are double resisted, it's also double resisting the rock moves back and single resisting the Moonblast as well, and then it has the Earthquake to close it out. So Steelix actually reasonable against your Carbink. You got your normal types, which are great generalists, great pivots, try and win back switch advantage with these Pokemon. Your Double, your Vigoroth, Pidgeot, Diggersby, Lickitung, they can all fill that role. And then you've got your dark types, despite the presence of the Fairy in there. I mean, Guzzlord can handle a lot of the things that would also beat the Carbink, like your grasses and your Mudboys. Obviously, you'd have to watch out for a Blizzard from the Whiscash. If you can shield that correctly, then you're golden. Mandibuzz can beat your ground types and your grasses as well. Yeah, there's a few really nice dark options in here, and that's it for this cup. So, I mean, there's a lot more to it. You should absolutely do your own research. Check out the complete breakdown for more information on all that. But let us know what you plan to run in the comments and help aid the discussion for people who might need a little more information. And good luck with your climb.